Welcome, this is the Government News Brief for Thursday, June 9, 2016. In the news, the National Schools Curriculum is being reviewed, GWI working on emergency response system, and flying in and out of Eurocrammer will soon be easier. I am Azim Khan with the details of these and other stories. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Here are the details. A review of the National Schools Curriculum will focus on patriotic education and information and communication technology, as we hear in this report.
Minister of Education Dr. Rupert Roopnarine says patriotic education should be taught in schools as it would give students a sense of national pride and patriotism. He acknowledged that information and communications technology, ICT, is the direction in which the world is moving, and Guyana's education should also fall in line. A review of the curriculum is ongoing.
We have to, I think, cultivate patriotic education children so that they come out of school with a feeling about Guyana, and I want to see much more of that in the school system. So I think that when I see the results of the curriculum review, we've had a look at how that curriculum is working and see what adjustments we need to make to bring the curriculum in line with what I can think of as modern developments, and especially in the area of ICT.
Dr. Roopnarine says education is a constantly evolving process, and for a nation like Guyana to advance socially, economically and politically, its education system will have to rise to the challenges.
I would like to ensure that we get the curriculum review completed and the reforms that are needed within it within this year. I can't tell you what month of this year, but we're at work on it, and I'm hoping that by the end of this year we would be in a position to implement new proposals in relation to the curriculum.
The curriculum review will also focus on revamping the overall academic system. The advent of this will see an improved and modernized system, especially in the fields of technology and science. This, the minister expects, will in turn result in well-rounded individuals. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Magistrates courts countrywide will not be sitting tomorrow, June 10, 2016. All magistrates will be involved in a judicial education program session. Clerks attached to each magistrate will be in attendance to assist the public with any queries. The Guyana Water Incorporated is looking at ways to improve its emergency response system. More in this report.
The Guyana Water Incorporated GWI is in the process of acquiring 3 mobile water tankers to dispense drinking water in emergency situations, says Chief Executive Officer Dr. Richard Van Westchild.
We certainly have to have some more sophisticated distribution systems for emergency situations. And we are in the mode now of having at least 3 tanks manufactured right here in Guyana, which can be put on tractor trailers. At least they will carry a minimum of 1,500 gallons of water.
The CEO explained that GWI would be able to provide water to its customers if there is a failure in the system. The portable tanker would be transported on trailers to provide water to the affected communities. The CEO says GWI should have more tankers available to respond to emergencies.
Is it inevitable that you are going to have problems with outages, breakdown of the pumps? Where we are now, we are trying to ensure that our level of redundancy of pumps across the country is improved, even in the hinterland. Because what operated previously, you had the 1 pump, but there is no level of redundancy in the system.
The water company is also seeking to import additional pumps in the event that a pump or motor stops working. It can be replaced quickly. This way, residents will not be without water for prolonged periods. Residents in the Diamond Housing Scheme have been experiencing water shortage for the past week. The well service in the area was breached and contaminated with mud. The water company is using tankers to deliver water to the residents while they try to fix the well. 2 additional wells will be added to the community by year end. For this Government News Brief, I am Namila Baines-Rowe.
Implementation of the mangrove restoration project continues. More in this report. Lessons learned during the earlier phase of the mangrove restoration project will guide further implementation, says head of the Mangrove Restoration and Management Department of NARI, Keen Mosley.
So the department has responsibility with regards to getting a better understanding of Guyana's coastal mangroves, designing and implementing restoration activities, monitoring those restoration activities and monitoring what is happening with coastal mangroves along Guyana's coastline, and some amount of protection and enforcement in collaboration with our sister agencies.
The head of department also shared some aspects of the project that were considered for implementation.
Mangroves can only grow at a particular elevation. If the elevation is correct, then getting an understanding of what are the soil conditions to be able to understand why the mangroves are not regenerating naturally. Continuing the assessment to evaluate whether or not there is a forest close by that can provide seeds to that location to be able to restore the area. Well, whether or not there are a lot of human interaction in terms of persons cutting, whether or not there's a lot of grazing of animals.
Prospected areas for intervention are the Lusignan East Coast Demerara coastline and the Walton Hall Essequibo coastline.
The design of those projects is to be able to imitate the way the mangrove roots work in terms of trapping sediments and increasing shoreline elevation to be able to support mangrove restoration.
Mosley concluded that the first phase was used for evaluation and the team is now ready to move forward. This new phase will utilize local resources and materials which will work out cheaper and allow more local contractors to benefit. More creative art centers will be created to help preserve traditional cultural practices. Details in this report.
The Ministry of Education plans to increase its creative arts program, says Cultural Policy Advisor to the Ministry of Education, Will Johnson.
All the programs that are currently going on in the ministry will be put into one place initially as a central space, but we're also looking at decentralization. So even as we're looking at that central facility, the idea is to have community-based art centers around the country.
Johnson says decentralizing the programs will allow for more flexibility.
For example, I may not necessarily want to do a full diploma program or one thing, or if I just want to practice, I don't have to come to Georgetown, where the IC will be based. Hopefully it's part of a cluster of educational facilities. But I can stay in Barbados and I could be able to do an affiliate program that focuses on my particular area of expertise.
The ministry will soon be collaborating with neighborhood democratic councils so as to acquire available centers to teach creative arts. Johnson says there will be consultations before a creative arts center is established in a community.
You don't just want to put a creative arts space in a community with a cookie cutter program. You want to go into the community and say, or deal with the, I'm glad there was local government elections, deal with the community leaders and say, okay, you have a quantum of people, of young people who are interested in dance, because traditionally this has been a village of dance. We have a quantum of people who are interested in drumming, like in Barbados. Okay, we can help you to provide the space, help you provide a program for development of a particular art, etc. Johnson
notes that traditional practices are fading. He is of the hope that with the provision of centers to practice culture, those traditional practices can be revived. Isaiah Braffett for the Government News Brief.
Flying in and out of Irocrama will soon be easier. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure plans to spend part of its $1.26 billion hinterland airstrip budget to rehabilitate airstrip nearby. Details in this report.
The airstrip at Fairview, an indigenous community within the Irocrama boundaries, will soon be rehabilitated. Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, says the project was tendered and Cabinet has given its no objection to the award of the contract.
The documents were received, the recommendations and review were done by MPTAB, and Cabinet would have already given its no objection.
The airstrip was built in 2007. It is now covered with vegetation, says senior hinterland engineer in the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Naeem Mohammed.
The scope of work basically would involve massive bush clearing. There is bush clearing to the approach and takeoff area, so that it would facilitate better safety for the pilots itself. The second after the clearing, there will also be lateritic material added so that the elevation of the airstrip would be good.
In addition to making the airstrip more durable, it will be lengthened to 800 meters and widened to 20 meters. At present, it is 790 meters long and 15 meters wide. There will also be waiting areas for passengers. In 2016, over $1 billion was budgeted to upgrade hinterland airstrips. Renetta LaFleur for the Government News Brief.
The Central Housing and Planning Authority today pulled off another successful Meet the Public Day in Region 6. The event was held at the Albion Sports Complex. Over 100 ranks of the Guyana Police Force were allocated house lots in Kildon and Chesney and number 76 and 77 villages at prices ranging between $92,000 and $300,000. Commander of B Division Ian Amsterdam applauded the CHNPA and Minister with responsibility for this sector, Valerie Sharp Patterson, for working with the Guyana Police Association to organize the activity.
Well, I'm indeed very happy that our police association was able to broker this deal with the Ministry of Housing and allow our ranks this easy access to receive an house lot. This has been a burning issue ever so long because the ranks, the process was so long and then they didn't have the time to leave work to go spend a whole day in Georgetown. So I just thank the minister for coming to us. This is a very good exercise because what would happen if we have ranks living in all the new housing schemes? That is going to be also a security benefit to the ranks and to the police force, because they'll be able to provide some amount of security to the neighborhoods or housing schemes that they're going to be living in.
The day's activities also saw several other citizens benefiting from house lots. The activity is expected to continue tomorrow as CHNPA will be at the Region 5 Regional Office at Fort Wellington for another outreach that targets serving ranks of the Guyana Police Force and residents of Burma. That concludes today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on our website. Subscribe to our website and YouTube channel to be kept abreast of the latest developments. You can also like and follow us on Facebook. The Government News Brief is a production of the Government Information Agency, GINA. Do join us again tomorrow as we bring you another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.